So the human being who doesn't know yes from no, who can't make a declarative statement, I don't do that, that's no, this is yes, this is right, that's wrong. If I can't do that, I'm not yet a human being. That can't be healthy, because I'm supposed to be a human being. So if I haven't achieved human behavior, then I haven't become a healthy person.
Wouldn't it make more sense even to say that ethics is supernatural? Something that works against all psychological categories?
That's exactly what I was afraid of. That psychology has almost relegated morality to some kind of religious shelf. You know, there are the self-help books, and then there's the religion. And we're paying a price for that. Because ultimately, bottom line, psychology does not present a model for life. It's a therapeutic method dealing with malfunctions or dysfunctions. It does not offer a healthy lifestyle. And that's why there's a frustration about this psychological view of human beings. And just like a scientist should not bring his methods home, leave it at the office or the laboratory, a detective should not bring his work habits to his home. You know, don't look for fingerprints on the refrigerator.
That's right.
You're home now, stop it, you know. A psychologist shouldn't bring his craft into his home.
Well, isn't that because the craft is rooted in an understanding of nature, that it looks for the natural, looks for natural laws of causality, for example, cause and effect, how does it happen in the psyche, using scientific models. So when you're at home, by that logic, you'd be looking for supernatural ways of dealing.
Or the most natural. Right? At home, you want to be completely natural, not an observer of nature, if we're even talking about nature. Psychology basically recognizes the breakdown, but it doesn't have a clear picture of the healthy, right? It picks up on the disturbances, but it doesn't have a definition for what would be if there were no disturbances.
Why doesn't it? If by what you're saying, things like goodness and wholesomeness, these are written into nature, right? They don't come from beyond. So why can't sciences like psychology access that?
I don't know. Is it because psychology was supposed to be value neutral?
Maybe.
Well, let's take a look at what's...
Well, values, I guess that's the issue then. Are values really inscribed within nature? Are values natural? Or aren't, in fact, values supernatural? Aren't they revealed? Aren't they revealed?
Exactly. I think a definition of human beings that is based on values is a more accurate description of what a human being is. So, for example, at what point do we worry about a child being unhealthy?
Mentally.
Emotionally,
or generally?
mentally,
okay.
Socially?
Yeah.
If he is a compulsive liar or if he lies. If he lies, this is not a job for a psychology.
Right.
Or for a psychiatrist, certainly. If it's compulsive, well, yeah, now we got to get a doctor on the case.
Right.
Now he may need medication. If he's violent, then you got to have a doctor. If he's disrespectful, let's take a look at arrested development. A child is by nature selfish. If as he grows he doesn't become less selfish, is that arrested development? Or is that just an alternative lifestyle?
Yeah. Is it natural?
Is it natural? Is it natural for a human being to be selfish?
Right.
The answer is yes, if he's 2 years old. But if he's not 2 years old, it's no longer natural. Is it natural for a kid to dirty his diaper? Not at 14. No, it's natural to do it at 14, but we force him not to act naturally anymore.
Yes,
by social
that's
whatever.
right. Well, psychology really depends on that kind of understanding of history, right? That socialization is an artifice that is imposed on what is natural. Naturally, we'd be going everywhere, just as when we were 2 years old. I mean, it wouldn't matter. We'd be out in the woods. But since we wear clothes and we create all these habits for ourselves, so we're socialized
Right.
into this kind of
Against nature.
Against nature. That's right. It's unnatural behavior.
And the Torah does not accept that at all. And it turns out that the Torah is correct. Surprise, surprise. It is not a healthy or natural human being who cannot see past his own nose. Even if he's not violent, even if he's not a serial killer, if a child can't get past his own nose, he's not a healthy child. This is not the definition of a human being.
This is, I think, by the way, strikes me as being the real conflict with evolution that the Torah has. Because evolution sees what is natural as animal. And anything that's beyond animal is something that somehow creeped in there artificially. Whereas we see Adam and Eve as already speaking and clothed and having fully human behavior.
That's right. And that's why a human being is fully capable of denying his survival for a virtue or for a value that he finds more valuable than life. The survival instinct, the survival of the fittest, would not permit such behavior.
Right. And you're saying that's natural, though?
Yes.
To seek something, to value something more than life itself,
Yes.
is natural, which is paradoxical from a scientific point of view.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's true of human nature.
Right.
Sometimes we get really carried away and we give up life for the dumbest reasons.
Yeah.
But you see, a reason is stronger than our survival instinct. So we got to be careful how we reason. You got to be careful what you pray for. You got to be careful how you reason, because it can kill you. You can die from what you're thinking.
Yeah.
So, going back to human nature, a child is selfish. If he doesn't outgrow it, he is stunted. A child is small. If he doesn't get any bigger, he is stunted, right? And that's true on all levels. A child is cruel. Doesn't think of other people's pains or pleasures. If he doesn't outgrow that, a child doesn't know that yes means yes and no means no. And that's why they're always testing. They want yes and no, but they have to be sure that yes is really yes and no is really no. Whatever the reason for that is. The point is that growing up means acquiring that knowledge that yes is yes and no is no. If we don't get that, we're not healthy human beings. Like, what part of no can't you accept? You're not a healthy human being. So if you can't delay gratification, are you a healthy human being or just not a value-based human being?
Right.
You're not healthy.
How do we understand health? Because we usually do understand natural.
Natural
as
to the
opposed
human condition.
As opposed to functional, which is how, again, psychology would see it, that when we bring someone into therapy, we're making them functional. A neurotic person is somebody who is lacking functionality.
Yeah, but
whether that function has ultimate meaning, it's irrelevant from a psychological standpoint.
But even the functionality, to function as what? As an animal or as a human being?
To function within a social setting, generally, right? So the social settings, of course, may also be relative, So that's why function becomes relative. If you're functioning in 1935 in Germany, that's one social setting and you're functioning there, and you may be healthy from that standpoint. From another standpoint, you look onto that system and say, I reject that, but the systems are relative, right? From a psychological standpoint.
Yeah, but it collapses on itself because the whole social structure is unnatural.
Right.
So you want to make me healthy by making me adapt to an unnatural social order? So who's healthy? Nobody's healthy.
That's right.
So the Torah says there are the things that define animal behavior that are healthy for an animal. Wearing little shoes on a dog is not healthy for a dog. And then there are those things that are healthy for a human being because it's consistent with his human nature, not his animal nature. So the human being who doesn't know yes from no, who can't make a declarative statement, I don't do that, that's no. This is yes. This is right, that's wrong. If I can't do that, I'm not yet a human being. That can't be healthy because I'm supposed to be a human being. So if I haven't achieved human behavior, then I haven't become a healthy person. I'm not yet a healthy person.
What's the need for revelation then?
The need for revelation, unfortunately, or sadly, is because only the Creator can give us the definitions up front. If we were to rely on our own, it would take us a lifetime to get to the definitions. And by then it's too late to do it. So if you spend a lifetime thinking, is it unnatural or unhealthy for a human being to murder? Would that go against my human something or another? Well, let me find out, right? We'll experiment, we'll do research, we'll study it, and I will come to the conclusion that it's bad. It's bad. It does bad things, unhealthy things to my heart, to my mind, to my... Yeah, but by then I'm 70. So I just wasted my life. So God comes along and says, let me give you the answers up front. Let me give you the definitions. Start off with, thou shalt not. Take my word for it and make a good life, instead of spending your life discovering what you're supposed to have known.
Well,
had I known, I would have had. Well, I'm telling you up front.
But that's certainly true on an individual basis, and it happens to individuals. But over history, when you belong to a matrix of behavior and of thinking, you can learn from others' mistakes. In principle, that's what I'm saying. In reality, we often don't learn from others' mistakes.
But even to learn from others' mistakes takes years.
Yeah.
And those years are wasted time.
Doesn't that somehow indicate that there's something unnatural at stake, though? Because you would think, I'm not sure about this, I'm just thinking out loud here, that if morality were natural, then we would arrive at it through natural means, since things that are natural are available to natural human intelligence. It should come naturally. So revelation, which is a breach into nature from beyond, would seem to be superfluous.
Well, there is a part of revelation that is from beyond. What God needs. Obviously, that's beyond. But what God is telling us about ourselves, we should come to it on our own.
Partner with Rabbi Friedman. Visit itsgoodtoknow.org/support.